Lucy, thank you so much for coming on Soho Radio. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. This is very early, so I'm probably still waking up with a large glass of coffee. How do you take your coffee? What's your wake up
I
drink?
don't take my coffee. And actually, like every couple of months, I forget that I don't drink coffee because I love how it tastes and I love how it smells. And so I'll order something with coffee in it, and then my entire day is ruined. Like the caffeine, just like, so I'm like a herbal tea type of person.
Nice. Talking ginger, peppermint.
I drink a lot of throat coat because it's good for singing, but chamomile is a big one. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of things having effects on you, home video has been such big news since it came out in June. Can you reflect on that period of time? You know, how is life different now?
I have such a renewed sense of gratefulness because when it came out, it was sort of unclear if we were going to be able to tour. Like, we announced tours, but they didn't feel real. And it had been, like over a year into lockdown. And I just felt a little bit pessimistic. I felt like being hopeful was futile, which is not like me. And it's kind of hard to admit. But yeah, we did a great tour and people seemed to like it. And I'd like to think that I'm like immune to all of that stuff, but I'm totally not. I absolutely do want validation. And like I don't think that I really like need it in a way that I'm like addicted to it, but it feels really good to know that people are interacting with something I worked super hard on and like it worked, you know?
Seeing yourself as, not a pessimist, you look towards the future kind of with a lot of hope.
Yeah, generally.
There's a few moments on home video where it's like the future's pretty bleak.
Yeah. I think maybe one that you're referring to is the future is a benevolent black hole, which I will say is the weirdest line to hear back at shows. Like hearing people be like, the future is a benevolent black hole. I'm like, this is like the bleakest anthem. But I don't know. I'm actually not super like upset by the prospect of the future being a black hole if it's benevolent. It's like that's how it is.
There's some excellent memes. I saw a brilliant one today where it was person's thought bubble was like, I really hate my life. This is really sucks. This is a horrible thing. Next to it is what they say, which is, I'd really like an air fryer.
Yeah. Yeah. Like on our limited time on Earth, get yourself an air fryer. Like in your limited time on Earth, do dummy shit that makes you feel good.
Do you see the value in being a dummy, being a goofball?
Oh, yeah. And that's actually new for me. I think that I took myself really seriously most of my life because I don't know if it's because I was like tall early and I have like a lower voice and I'm pretty calm. Like people have told me my whole life that I'm like an old soul or like I've always had older friends and they always come to me for advice. And I think I like wore that as some sort of like identity or badge. Like I'm like the wise one. And yeah, I could have been having way more fun. And in recent years, I think I've been trying to have more fun and it's been working. I think being an idiot is underrated.
Completely agree. I quite often think about in the future how there's so much fun to be had. There's so many more parties. There's so many more unplanned trips, so many more, things that go completely down a different road of what you're expecting. Is that a scary thing? Is that an exciting thing? Are you able to think about that future much?
I think it's exciting. I think the thing that keeps me excited is holding on to the fact that I might not always be able to do music. Like I'm doing it now and it's really great and I could have never predicted it. And then at some point, maybe something else is going to happen that I could never predict. And at that time, I'll be ready for it and it'll make sense. I try not to hold music too tightly, especially after lockdown and things getting canceled and stuff. It's like, it just hurts to hold things tightly. So, yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy all of this and also like enjoy it with the sense of responsibility. Like we're talking about having fun. I think it's good to like have fun and recognize your place in the world and how much responsibility you have and like have that be a gift instead of a burden. Like I said, I did maybe this was before you push record, but did a bunch of DIY touring before I had any music out, and I would send all the emails and be like, here's an MP3 of my voice memo. Like, can I come play your house? And I loved that. I loved getting the emails back, being told like yes or no, and ultimately setting up a show and feeling like I was hosting a party every night. And like, I think the logistical stuff is like also fun. I know not everybody thinks that, but
Well, you're your own boss. That's kind of nice.
yeah. And I have like issues with like dissociations. So actually, something that helps is like never letting somebody else make decisions about my whereabouts or my identity. Like, I approve all the images that go out. Nobody's allowed to type in my voice. It's happened sometimes and it's been an issue. People have been like doing ads that are like, I'm so excited to come play Manchester, buy tickets to my show. And it's like, they're using my voice and that'll like really rattle me.
You know, talking a lot about the future, and the feeling I get is that you're your own historian. You know, you're looking at times in your life, you're analyzing them, you know, maybe you're making sense of them.
Yeah, I think that I often don't know what I think until I've written a song. So I'll write a song and then read it back or sing it back to myself and be like, that's what I think. Wow. That's what my brain was doing all this time, trying to figure out what happened. Huh. And it's like I get clued into something that didn't really even involve me. And I'm just handed my own understanding.
Is it kind of a kind of counseling in a sense? Any songwriter, any poet, any writer is sort of doing that kind of self meditation, or you know, that self therapy, I suppose. But is that kind of boring to think about?
No, I don't think it's boring at all. I think also I'm so interested in like the meta transaction of memories over time. So it's like I'm interested in stuff that happened to me, and I'm also interested in my own memory playing tricks on me, and what things mean in different contexts. Like the way I understand something today is different than a year ago, and next year it'll feel different too because of anything that changes me between now and then. And so like marking the passage of time through creating things and like making a recording, which apparently isn't supposed to change, and yet I feel so different even though the recording stays the same. I'm into all of it. Time is weird.
Have you got any sort of favorite albums that you discovered, you know, as a late teenager or early in your 20s, that those songs have changed over time?
I feel like a lot of stuff I liked when I was in high school, I still like just as much, like Wilco and Radiohead and Yola Tango.
Which Mermaid Avenue is your favorite of the Wilco Billy Bragg? Have you heard those records?
Did they do that song, Ain't Nobody That Can Sing Like Me?
Ain't nobody
Can
that can
sing
sing
like
like
me. Is that one that they do?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's my answer. I love that song. I journal, and I've been rereading my journals obviously for the past couple years and typing them up.
Wow.
And I made a playlist of all the music that I mentioned.
That is a brilliant idea.
So I'm just gonna scroll through this playlist, and we got some Neutral Milk Hotel, yeah, yeah, yes. I mean, that stuff just is good. Maybe Sufjan Stevens feels a little different actually, because I got into him when I was a Christian, and I was like, this is awesome, like a cool Christian guy making like cool music. And I'm not a Christian anymore, and I don't know what his status is on that. I thought it was like the pinnacle of creativity, and it still kind of is, but there's something like more sweet or like twee, not twee even in a bad way. I don't want that to sound bad, but like
No, I think you can say twee. I mean, for me, it kind of represents something that's kind of like thinnish, kind of high end, kind of, you know, just a bit fun, a bit fruity.
I think that I just thought of it as like genius, and I didn't notice that it was also just kind of like fun and
Yeah.
Did you say fruity?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sufjan Stevens is fruity. That tracks. This was my first favorite song by him, and it's That Was the Worst Christmas Ever, which is well timed since Christmas is coming. And I notice your sweater; it has a Christmas tree on it. I'm sure people will be glad to hear. But yeah, that song is like just an incredible song. It's not just like a Christmas tune.
I saw some people writing that they had seen you play a couple of new songs at shows maybe a month ago. Can you say anything about those? I mean, are you always writing? Are you always sort of road testing? I mean, you know, I've read before that you've asked people not to press record, which I think is a really, really nice idea because, you know, I'm with you. I don't want to hear a song for the first time as a fan through a mobile phone.
Yeah, I mean, I am always writing, and usually by the time I release a record, I have most of a record done, the next one done. And I like playing them for people and like having the first impression be live because there's no expectations, and telling people to like put down their phones, like I think something changes in the room knowing that like nobody here is interacting with their phone. Like I think that you just are more hyper aware. It feels like a special moment. I don't do it at all shows, but when I feel like it's the right time, it's like sometimes my favorite part of the whole show.
Playing new songs, does that help you hear songs that you're playing from home video? Do you hear them differently? Do you hear them in a new context?
Yeah, I definitely do. And in unexpected ways. I feel like I can feel which lyrics affect people, and it's surprising. Or like I can hear like when people get really loud, I'm like, oh, okay, people really get this lyric.
Any surprises there? Any particular lines?
Well, we talked about the features of Benevolent Black Hole. That was definitely a surprise. Hearing people sing quietly to Thumbs has been really wild because it's such a like quotidian of normal life. Like there's nothing fantastical about it. Well, I guess it is literally a fantasy about killing my friend's dad, but I don't think that it is a mythic type of song. I definitely, whenever I write on tour, I try to play that song like the night after writing it. And that's a very like nerve wracking in a good way type of experience.
Sadly, you're not in the UK at the moment. You have a back injury. Is that right?
Yep. This is day 2 of sitting up. So I've been laying down for like a full week.
Wow.
Which has been so annoying.
What happened? Is it a recurring problem? Is it?
Yeah, it's a recurring problem. I have 2 herniated discs, which sucks. And I'm probably going to need surgery, but not right now. I can kind of like deal with it in other ways for now. But yes, I wish we were doing this in person. Wish I was in London. Wish I didn't have to postpone things. But I'll be back in March.
With Fen Lily?
Yeah, me and Fen, and in Europe, we're doing that March and April. And I love Fen so much. She's like such a funny guy and such a good writer and musician.
I've just discovered her like sort of 2 days ago, looking at your tour poster.
Oh, nice.
Fen is a cool word.
Yeah.
And
it's her real name.
Is it?
Yeah, Fen Lily. It sounds like a songstress, like chosen name, but yeah, it's her actual name.
Brilliant. And I Nietzsche is a great song.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you speak any foreign languages?
I took 6 years of French and I haven't used it very much. So
6 years is a long time, isn't it?
I know, but it was like middle and high school. So not super high level, but I think that if you dropped me in the middle of France, I'd probably pick it up in a couple weeks.
Do you speak dribs and drabs of it when you're in France playing between songs?
Yeah, I try to, and I can never tell if it's working. You know, like if they would just understand me better if I spoke English, because it's wild how many European countries people just like speak English. It actually feels so gross. I don't know if you like experience this, but going to other places and being like, oh, I could just feel the imperialist history and like everybody's knowledge of English. But I'm also really grateful since I can't learn every language of everywhere that we get to go.
The people that I've met in France and throughout Germany and different European countries, even if it's just like a slither, you know, that effort, I think people really do appreciate. And yeah,
I want to try more. I think it's just the like, oh, if I mess up, am I gonna offend somebody, or like,
I'm with you.
But I think I would like to try more.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for coming on Soho Radio. If there's another tune that you'd like to play out, what would it be?
You should play Boomer by Bartees Strange. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's so good. Okay, cool.
Cool.
He's great.
Well, thank you so much.
Cool.
It's really nice to meet you.
Yeah, great chat.